Hey everybody, it's Matthew Reinhart, your pop-up professor of the pop-up masterclass. Ooh. Bye. Hi everyone, it's Matthew Reinhart, Professor Reinhart to you. It's another pop-up masterclass. And today's pop-up masterclass is going to be a little bit of a mini one. This whole semester we're making specific pop-ups, making a specific thing, whether it's bird's wings or an animal's mouth or something like that. We're making specific pops. But today I had a request from a teacher, and she asked if I would show how to make a spring pop. Her name is Nicola. And I've never used these before. I don't use them very much in my pop-ups, and I thought it'd be cool to do a quick little mini masterclass on how to use springs. I don't use them very much in my pop-ups simply because I don't use them because I don't always have springs in some of the things that I'm making. Although I love them, and there's many paper engineers that use them and use them really beautifully. In fact, David Carter actually uses springs really beautifully and makes them as part of his sculpture, which I think is amazing. I just haven't had a need to use them yet. So I thought it would be really cool if we experimented today and we learned how to make and use springs in our pop-ups. So hey, let's get started. What do we got here? We got some cardstock, we got some scissors, we got tape. Come on over here. Some of the tape that I use now, I will use transparent tape in this so that you can see my pop-ups being made, but usually I use like sort of an artist tape like this. I use cardstock. This is 110-pound cardstock, all different kinds of colors because this is just scrap. And I get a pair of scissors that works really comfortably with your hands. So see, these fit really nicely. I have a lot of scissors. And sharpened pencil. Ruler would help. And hey, let's get started, everyone. Okie doke. So we're going to start making a spring. First, this is one I just cut right now. So you can see I started from a circle. So you can make a circle any size you want. Let's take, now we could make a circle from a lot of things. This I think I made from a previous, not a very good circle. Look. Now you could use, if you wanted, a cup. Oops, that had peanuts in it. Yeah. Maybe what we'll do is we'll trace the outer edge here, just like that. So you can see that nice circle. And I'm just going to cut out the circle with my scissors. Just like that. I'm so quiet. Listen up. I'm so quiet. It's so quiet. I don't want to be quiet. All right, so there's our circle. This is going to be the beginning of our spring. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to carefully spiral cut into the center. Now you could do this really very, sort of precisely. You could draw it out if you wanted to, that spiral beforehand. I'm going to do it just by hand. See how I'm just turning my circle and cutting a little bit by little bit till I get to the center. Very carefully. Now at the end you want to leave a little bit there because that's where we're going to attach it. So we're going to add this inside a pop. You know what? I think I'm going to make a couple more. Maybe I'll make one. I'm going to make one that's square. What you're saying? How do you make a square spring? Well, let's do one that's like, we go like this. And we're just spiraling inward with our cutting. All right, so now these springs, like I said, I don't use them as often in my pop-ups, but I love when people do. I just haven't had a, I like to use them when they fit with whatever I'm assembling. And a lot of times when I'm making something, I'm making a specific thing and not necessarily a sculptural thing. And I haven't had a need to use it, but I think you could use these on all kinds. They look so beautiful when they're opened up. So you see, I'm making this spring. Look, it's going to be square. That is so cool. Now, I think I may need to do these more often in my pops. Now that I'm making them, they're just fun to make the spring is fun. So look at that. That one there makes a really cool, ooh, let's make sure it's not hold the wrong way. We want it to be able to fold. Let's see. There's another one. So let's see how that one opens. Look at that. Ooh, that's cool. Let's see. Ooh, let's make an oval. Let's make an oval, but different color. I'm just going to make this one. This one's going to be just free form sort of shape. And let's cut out this egg. Or oval shape, rather. Now take your time. Now, I move pretty fast when I'm cutting. I mean, this wouldn't be a Matthew Reinhart this wouldn't be a Matthew Reinhart pop-up masterclass if I couldn't, plug my own books, right? Anyway, so this is Dragons and Monsters. It was done with Candlewick Press quite a while ago, I think 2011 or 12 or something like that. And instead, I love this book. I love this series. I made this dragon. Let me pull out a little because it's big. Now, ooh, listen to those cars outside. Woo, it's early. All right, so this book doesn't use spirals, but it actually uses tissue paper between. But you could use spirals because essentially what happens when you're using a spiral is you're kind of going from one surface, let's say it's attached here and it's attached here, and you're opening something away from itself and it's letting the spiral travel across that arc. All right, and this one kind of does the same thing. In fact, I think we're going to do this. We're going to do something like this on our own spirals that we've made later on in this video. But this kind of uses the same principle. I love this book. This actually uses tissue paper to make this Chinese lung, and this is one of my favorite pops. I think probably one of the best one. I don't know, one of my favorites that I've ever created because not only does it make the motion and spread across the page, but it also makes noise. Okay, so let's start off with just one of these spirals. And what we're going to do is we're going to put some tape. I already put some double stick on here, but we're going to put some double stick tape on one end of our spiral. See that little area right there? And you're going to make sure it doesn't stick out. And we're going to put it on the end as well, on the tail. Just like that. And we're going to make sure it doesn't stick out. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to stick it on this base page right on that side. See how it's stuck there? And then what I'm going to do, now this is the best part. All I have to do with this sticky side up, see there's a little sticky tape right there in the middle? I'm just going to close it. That card. I'm going to open it up. And look, our spiral moves. It moves all the way across. Sometimes it's a little, as these ends of the spiral sometimes don't move as much as this part. So here's the deal. Here's how this works. The farther you are away from your central fold here, the longer your spiral can get. So if we had like an extra big piece of paper, this spiral would be able to stretch a lot more. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you have a shorter spiral like this one, this is a smaller one, it needs to be closer to this central fold line. But for example, let's take this big spiral. I'm going to take this one off. And let's look at this big spiral here. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to put some double stick on the middle, and then we're going to put some on the tail. All right? And see, one is on the tail on one side, and we flip it over and we put one on the center on the other side, okay? Make sure it's flat. All right, so I'm going to put this side over here, and I'm going to make sure that the tail is furthest from the central fold. And then I'm going to see it's taped down. And see, remember our double stick is right there sitting up. I'm going to fold it. Yeah. And now, see how that works? And see, if we had more space, if this was a bigger card, we could really stretch out this spiral. But it's really nice. These are really nice because they're really beautiful to use. You can also, if you want, we can add shapes on our spirals. So I'm just cutting some little squares from this scrap paper. I'm gonna use some double stick. Then we can take, if we want, we can start decorating some of these spirals. Like this, like this. So things can look like they're sort of floating. All right, so this is the beginnings of using spirals. This is the easiest point of using a spiral. All right, well now let's make a spiral. Let's use spirals, but with other mechanisms inside the pop. So okay, so we did this. Let's put this away. So there's our base page, and again, I just use that pencil line there, so that you all out there in YouTube land can see, you know, where the central fold is, because we're going to build something off. Okay, so let's take a piece of cardstock. I want you to use a piece of cardstock that has an uncut corner, okay? And we're going to cut off that corner like that. So this is a 90-degree angle. I'm going to fold it to make a V fold, right? Okay. And let's, there we go. All right, so there is our V fold. And what I think we're going to do, I'm excited about this. Okay, so we are going to make a piece that's standing straight up. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a piece of this cardstock, and I'm making it in all different colors so you can see all these different pieces together. All right, I'm going to just make, it's going to look like kind of like a paddle, I think. Like that. Okay, so we've got our paddle. And I'm a little dry this morning. A little dry. We're going to tape it along this fold right here, along this hinge, using one-sided tape. I'm going to tape it on both sides. And again, maybe use a couple pieces to really anchor it down there. Now, usually when I'm making prototypes, I use a tape with fiber in it, like artist tape. Like this is white artist tape. There's all different colors of this. Or just masking tape. But because I want you all to see this, I'm using transparent tape. All right, Scotch tape is pretty great. I want that endorsement real bad, right? So, all right, so we've got this thing, and it's just flopping around. You know, it's just flopping there. What are we going to do to keep it to stand up? Well, we're going to use two 90-degree angle V folds. Just trying to find a good color here so you can see. All right, here we go, like this. And here's how we're going to make this. This is going to be super easy to do. We're just going to cut a bump off of a straight edge right there. Something like that. Yeah. Okay, watch. I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to make sure that the bottom straight edge is lined up along each other. Make sure that when you cut this, you cut it off of an uncut piece of cardstock so we know that that's straight. All right, so that's folded in half. And I'm going to mark it again with my marker because I want you to see where the folds are. All righty. Look at that. Okay, so that's folded in half. Now watch. We're going to fold it one more time. We're going to fold it. We're going to fold it from here to that center fold like this. All right? And then we're going to do the same on the other side. And what this is going to do is this double 90-degree angle V fold. So there's one V fold that's 90 degrees, and there's one V fold here that's 90 degrees. They're attached. We're going to attach it to this, and it'll make this thing stand up. So I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do again? I'm going to mark this just so you can see it. Nice. Okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to tape it. You know, let's see, what do I want? Do I want it here? How do I want this? I just don't know. Yeah, I'm going to, don't you love it? I'm thinking right there and then. So I'm going to tape it along the center. See how I've taped that? And it's one-sided tape. I'm going to tape it to this side right here, just like that. Okay, so I taped it to there, and I'm also going to tape it on the opposite side because, you know, Got to make sure it's strong if we're using transparent tape on both sides. So see how it's attached there? And now what I'm going to do, this is the easy part. We're going to fold it like this and like this. See how I'm folding it? Just like that. We're going to use some one-sided tape. I'm going to tape it sticky side up. Right there, like that. So see how I've done that? And watch this. I'm just going to flip it over, press it down, and look, one side is attached to the base page. And because it's attached one side, I'm going to just in case, I'm going to put some tape on both sides just to make it extra strong. So see how it's attached? That's one anchor. That's a 90-degree angle V-fold anchor that's going to keep that. And then we need to attach this side, right? So what did we do last time? We put it down, and then we made sure it was sticky side up, right? Now watch, then we're going to close this, press down, pressing down on the, yeah. All right, there we go. Look at that. It's attached to our V-fold. And now let's make sure it's taped. See, there's where the tape found its way. And we've done these sort of V-folds before as anchors, but for support struts like this. I guess that's what you call it, a strut. So look at that. So we've got a strut that's held together with two 90-degree angles. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some coils and put them on the ends. But now look at, when it's closed, this is where I want to put my coil. On this part of our V-fold, when it's closed, look, there's nowhere it would stick here. We don't want that. So let's add a little bit. Let's add a shape to here. Let's just add a little bump. I'm going to take some more cardstock, just some scrap. I think I'm going to just stick it right here. And I'm just making like sort of a bump that's going to go on there. Let's see. And it closes. Yep, goes like that. So I'm just going to use some one-sided or double-sided. Double-sided sticky tape. Love that stuff. I love tape. I love tape. It makes so many cool things. So see what I just did? Now it's got like, so we've got a little paddle here. We've got our strut here. And now everything should fit. So now let's get our coils out. All right, so I'm going to use these coils. I got one of these. And what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to put, remember before, we put one little piece of double stick in the center. Then we turn our coil over, and we put the other piece of double stick on the tail, and we make sure it's not sticking over the edge. See how I've kind of folded it over onto itself? And if you have to, you can cut off some of that tail and tape so that it doesn't stick out. And what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put the center, this tape, put it right here on the end of our little extra bit there. Ooh, you know what? No, I don't like it like that. I'm going to do it so that, oops, let's take it off. See, we make mistakes. We can always pull it up. Let's do it like, let's see, does this work? Is that going to work? Yep. Okay. So, got to test things. First, we're going to take the tail. We're going to tape it to the top of this like this. See how I did that? Now, this is still not stuck yet, so don't stick it yet. And we're going to close it. Press down. Then we're going to open it. Let's see what it does. Look at that! Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Look at our coil is attached to our strut. And if we wanted to, we could use some extra. I think I'm going to use some, just so that I can get a little bit of more sticking. I'm just going to use some double stick right there. Stick it down. So now our coil looks kind of nice that way. Look at that. Look at, we're using the V-fold to pull it away from the tail to the center. Look at that. And let's do the same on the other side. Let's see, do I have another? Ooh, I have another purple coil. Spring, whatever you want to call it. And again, I think I'm going to tape down the tail. So I'm going to use a little bit, just right there. I used a little too much. Chop off some of this tail. All right. Uh-oh, I have tape on the wrong side. Uh-oh. All right, I peeled off peeled off that tape. So we have tape, double stick on this side. Let's turn it over. And then we put double stick on the, oh, I hate when that happens. Don't you hate when the tape sticks to itself and you can't find the edge of it? Ugh. So there is the double stick on the opposite side for the center. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put the top of the coil, the spring, whatever you want to call it, and tape it to that side of our strut. Okay, so see, it's still. And then what do? We close our pop, press it down. It's so good. Just gotta. And now let's see what. Whoa! Oh, I gotta pull back. That's good stuff. Look at that. So now we've got this strut that's oops, that's sticking. That's why it's not so good. Okay, there. Look at that. So look at we've got a strut that's sticking straight up from the base page and is pulling our coil, our spring, across. And so this almost looks like the spring is traveling through it. Isn't that cool? And that uses 2 springs. But now let's look at what else we've got here. We've got some more space to do some more stuff with these springs, because I've got a couple more springs and I want to use them. So let's see, this square spring. Let's have this square spring be somewhere on the page. See, look at that. Let's see. We're going to have to, you know what we got to do? We got to add on to our page. Just going to, let's see here. Let's see. We need to add on to our page. Let's get this square and let's just have it go across the page because it looks pretty. So again, double stick in the center of one side, right? Let's make sure there's no extra. Oh, and clean off. Look at how dirty my scissors are. They have all kinds of stuff on it. Got to be real careful. You don't cut yourself, but you don't want all the extra tape and paper on it. Ugh, what a mess. All right. There we go. It's at the center. Let's turn it over very carefully. And then where do we put our double stick? On the tail. So the center and the tail. And let's attach, let's see, let's turn it over. Okay, so we're going to attach the center right there on that side, just like that. And there's our center fold. Let's close it. All right, and press down. Let's see how our, ooh, look at that coil. Look at how far that coil goes, how far that spring goes across the page. That's really cool sort of architecture there, isn't it? So you can see that, like, basically, you're taking the spring and pulling it apart. And you can either attach it to other surfaces. So, you know, when you're making this pop-up, think about it like the surfaces are pulling apart in different directions. So you can use them with V-folds, you can use them with layers, you can use them with all different types of pops. Let's see if we can add a layer to this. This is our little layer here that I've made, and I've folded it in half. And I'm just going to show you where the fold is by marking it. And I'm going to tape it onto this part of the V-fold and this part of the page. And again, using one-sided tape. And I'm, again, pressing into, now if you have really sharp fingernails, I don't really have fingernails really, but if you have really sharp fingernails, don't cut the tape with your fingernails. Be careful not to do that. All right, so now we have our layer. And let's see, I think what we could do is we could have a coil go from this side to the base page. So let's see what we can do with that. And we're going to need a smaller coil. So this coil is awful big. I'm going to just cut off some of the tail. So we're going to take this little coil and we're going to attach it. So again, it's kind of like a clamshell. It opens. We have to attach one end of our spring to one side and one end to the other. That's what we're doing. We're going to make that clamshell kind of right there. Let's take some more. Let's add a little bit extra. I'm just going to make a little bump piece like this. Now I want you to experiment with different types of coils and see what you want to make. I mean, they can be such beautiful, elegant shapes that the paper can make. Play around, have fun with it. I think this is so beautiful. One of my favorite pop-up book makers who uses coils beautifully is David Carter, and he has a bunch of books. There's one especially called The Art of Pop, which is amazing. There's a sequel actually coming out soon, so I think it's on Kickstarter. He's so wonderful at using coils, much better than me. So check out any of David Carter's books and see all the beautiful ways. He did a whole book series called One Red Dot, and then there was one blue dot, and oh my God, they're so beautiful. So be sure to check them out. He's an amazing artist. So we're going to put our little bump onto this side, and we're going to have it go over the fold. I'm just using some double-sided tape to tape that on. So see how that's going? See how that layer is? Just like that. Okay, so what do we do when we add when we get ready to add a coil or a spring to our pop? Well, we use a small piece of double-sided tape. We tape it to the centermost point, right, on one side. Just like that. Make sure no double stick is sticking over the edges. We carefully flatten it and turn it over, and then we tape where? We double stick tape where the tail is. There's the tail. Just like that. All right, so now we're going to tape the center down right about there. Now, when we do our coil, we want to make sure that our coil does not go over our center fold. So when it's closed, it should not be overlapping this fold. And you'll notice that is with all of them. None of them are, when they're closed, let's take this off real quick and I'll show you. It'll go back, don't worry. See, it doesn't go over that center fold. And it's the same for these too. They don't either. So make sure that we don't have this edge going over our fold. Now the sticky side up is where the tape is. I think I'm going to turn mine. Usually what I do is when I attach it, I have the tail part here. Let's pull in closer so you can see. This tail part, even though it's overlapping right there, this tail part should be on the top away from this center fold. Okay, so let's close everything. Oh, look. It's just over the edge of my pop, but I think it'll stick. All right, look. Look at that. Let's pull back. Let's pull back. We got to see. Now, even though, okay, it's sort of over the edge, I'm just going to tape it down so it doesn't go anywhere, so there's no sticky. There we go. All right. Maybe what I'll do is, here, I'll do this. This is better. I'll tape it down right there and watch. All right, so look at that. There we've got a coil on this layer. They're so big and it's so hard to see how that is. So the clamshell sort of thing, you see it opening and closing. There, it's attached there, all the way to the base page. So we've used several different ways. Oops, let's tape that down again. We gotta tape that tail down. How do we attach it? It's sticky side up. We close the pop, press it down. There we go. So there we are, everyone. We've made several different springs using different mechanisms. Some just taped to the base page. Some are taped to layers like this. And some are even using things like V-folds and struts with 90-degree V-fold anchors to make them stand up. But we're using them and really just stretching our coils out. And even remember when we use this one here early on, this one even has pieces glued onto it to make them look like they're kind of floating. So isn't that cool? These are springs, coils, whatever you want to call them, spirals. But they're really cool, they're beautiful to use, and I've really had fun showing you how to make them today. I thought this was going to be a shorter masterclass, but Actually, this is pretty substantial. Look at those coils. Anyways, this is Matthew Reinhart, Professor Matthew Reinhart to you, and this is the Pop-Up Masterclass. I hope you've enjoyed today's class, and I hope to see some really cool spiral coil, whatever you want to call them, pops. Let me see them. Post them below, or send them to me on my there's a contact email on my website. But anyways, be sure to hit like and subscribe. If you have extra ideas for future pop-up masterclasses, please let me know, because I'm reading those comments and I am doing what you want to do. Anyways, thanks everyone. I'll see you next time, and remember, show your work. All right, bye-bye.